we're incredibly thankful and lucky for this, and let's get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning is in theaters tomorrow, and we have an exclusive from Paramount. Jeez.
With low-level flying, there is absolutely zero margin for error at altitudes between 5 and 20 feet above the water, above the rocks. If there is a downdraft, there is no room for correction. The plane is going in.
Jeez, ladies and gentlemen, the man who is dangling from that wing, the man who has been captivating audience for decades and decades and decades, the man who has $12 billion in box office, the greatest actor on the earth, the man who Spielberg said saved the acting and movie industry. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Tom Cruise.
Yeah!
Thank you.
Tom.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, Tom. Oh, can we get a shot of the boys here real quick? Just the pure joy.
Great to be here, man. Let's go. It's great to be here. Hey, guys.
Tom, it is an honor.
Great to be here.
It is an honor to have you.
Wow. It's an honor for me.
You look amazing. You look like you're glowing, and for good reason. We had a couple of the boys check out Mission Impossible Final Reckoning this morning. They've been hovering above Earth. They'll ask you about that in a moment. I want to dive into a conversation about you. And every time we see you do a promo or a video, you're jumping out of something, you're flying something, and it's always see you at the movies. See you at the movies. In our world, the sports world, all the GOATs talk about their love of the game, their love of the sport. It feels like you love the movies. You love everything about the industry.
I love them.
When did that start? Were you a kid? Did you know this was going to be it? How did you kind of get into this?
Look, honestly, I hoped that I would be able to make movies my goal. I remember when I was 4 years old, I wanted to make movies. I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to fly jets and airplanes. I wanted to visit and work in different cultures. That was just a lifelong dream of mine. I've always had an adventurous spirit, and just that kind of life I wanted. So it's something that is not what I do. It is who I am, and my whole life is dedicated to it. How, I look at a body as like kind of a car, and how do I train my car so that I can do this for the rest of my life? I had that opportunity. I didn't go to film school, I didn't go to acting school, but I studied movies. And when I got onto a movie set for the first time, and I just studied every single department and really started to understand, what the culture is and how to create a culture of that where people can really flourish and do their best work. And those are the kind of things, like as a kid, I learned a work ethic. I always had jobs when I was growing up. We all in our family, I just worked. I had paper routes and cutting grass. And it's very interesting. I kind of reflected upon this as I was making movies, and kind of always ran my own business, and just knowing that the better I was at what I did, it made it that, if I didn't cut the grass right, I didn't get the job. So I better learn how to understand how to do the best I can with cutting that grass. And that would ensure that I was able to do a great job for the neighborhood, for the person, and they were happy, and then they wanted me back to do the job. And so those kind of basics of discipline, of learning a craft, of my interest in life. I'm not just, it's movies encompasses cultures, encompasses engineering. And, I fly jets, aerobatics, and aircraft, and I sing and train in dancing, and I'm constantly studying engineering and mechanics and history and architecture, and
of course
also studying to be what it is to be a leader, and so all of these things, it's life, and I love it. Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Well, I think you found the right place. I think you found the right profession.
Yeah, good guys.
Yeah, I think they all those.
Beforehand when I started, it was like, look, you know what it takes. And my door is always open to everybody. Like I'm always a student. I'm always studying. I'm always learning. And my door is always open to everybody to go like, look, these are the things that I did. Because knowledge, there's so much knowledge out there, but what knowledge can you learn that's going to improve your ability for your goals? So that I'm looking for knowledge that I can apply, that I can get the result every single time, and that it's effective. So those things that I evaluate for myself. And I'm very much looking at what works for me, what is storytelling for me. But it takes a kind of passion and real discipline and relentless pursuit of this field. And you know that from what you've done in your life. I mean, we talked about it earlier of what you've accomplished in sports and then what you did, to get to where you are with your show right now. You have that mental state. And I tell people, it's like, you want your goals. You just have to think about what you need to know to get there.
Yeah, I think work ethic is the most important thing that you can have. I have a daughter now, 2 years old, and I just, yeah, you too, I think. You're thinking the same thing, it sounds like.
Yeah, same thing, and it's character. With success, it does reveal character and your discipline, and also it's understanding. My movies are not me; it's all of us. It's how do I help every single person? And when you're producing films, and I produce movies, it's understanding every single department. You have to be able to do those jobs. You got to understand what everyone's going through and how to help them, and align everyone so that you can create the best possible film for audiences. And my goal is I make movies for audiences, however the wide range of cinema that I make. I have a wide range of interests, and so I'm constantly studying that particular genre, whether it's a thriller, action, comedy. I'll go into it and go, how can I entertain the audience that's going to love that? And that is my goal. My goal is that, global audiences, and how do I do that?
Well, mission accomplished.
Yeah, amen.
Some would say the mission was impossible at the beginning. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, I know. Is it possible? Many times I've been told that.
So I appreciate that.
Many times.
I'll do the low-hanging fruit right there, especially on the eve here of Final Reckoning. So you talk about the work ethic and wanting to know every part of the business, and obviously the full team that goes into everything, and the team effort to make these massive, massive movies that obviously do numbers and entertain the entire world and make people escape from life, which is a very important part of our society. Yeah. But I feel like that's
what I want to do.
Yeah, and you do that. I just want to let you know that. As a person who has been a fan of yours for a long time, you certainly make us all forget about life and also realize that there is an alien walking among the amount of things that you can do. You just talked about it. I'm learning engineering. I'm learning how to be a helicopter pilot. I'm flying jets. I'm hanging off there. When did you decide? Is that just your view of what an actor's supposed to be when you do all your own stunts? And because there's not a lot of that, right? I mean, that's not a very normal thing. I've seen the clips of you running, breaking your leg, and continuing to do it. Like, when did you decide you were going to do everything? Like, literally everything.
Always.
Yeah, always?
Always. My interest in life and things that I want to know about, and how can I accumulate. The derivation of art is skill. And I've always just kind of wanted to live my life like that and develop skills in many different areas. I have a wide range of interest in life. So whether I'm parachuting, skydiving, flying aerobatic helicopters or airplanes, or I like to dance and sing, and I love music. So I take time to study these things. It's always been my whole life. But if you look at the history of movies, they used to take an actor and they would say, here are these abilities. And if you look, my films are, when I'm working with people, not just actors, but people in all different aspects of filmmaking, what I'm looking for is that ability, and to utilize those abilities, increase those abilities. And when you look at cinema, they used to take actors and train them in singing and dancing and elocution and different languages. And they taught them about acting and lighting and lenses. So all of these things that I was just doing naturally, I didn't quite realize what I was doing. My natural curiosity to know things, and not just, look, I'm not someone who just reads things and does it. I want to experience it. I'm looking at it, and I'm kind of viewing what's true for me. What are storytelling for me personally, not just what someone says it is. So those things that are just natural to me. So what I've also done is, as I'm learning these things, and I studied film in every department, then I studied the studio system, then I studied distribution, and my ultimate goal was really understanding culture and life and how I can make my movies to engage in those different cultures, celebrate them, and also to understand them and go to see their movies in different cultures, and how can I communicate in that way. So if you look at the way Hollywood was, and that's how I structured, like I get actors and crew and I'm training them. I'm teaching them. And I encourage artists to go out and not wait to get a job, but you got to train. Like, what kind of movies do you want to make? And if you want to do musicals, like, go train on musicals and tap. And I look at an actor, and I'm not just having a script that's, there's the character and let's find the actor that can play this character. I'm looking at the actor and going, boy, look at the light that this actor has. Look at the ability that this actor has. And I'm looking to take a light and shine it on that and then let it grow. So if you look at movies like when I'm hiring, Renee Zellweger for Jerry Maguire or any cast member that I'm doing, I spend more time on their performances with the camera on them. And then as we're exploring the story and developing it, it's very much, I think the great coaches, there is the relevance of someone looking at the ability of the talent you have, and how do we structure the defense or offense for that. But I'm looking at, here's the story, emotional story I want to tell. Here's the enormously talented artists that I have in every area, and how do I maximize that talent with this story, and what is that story? So that it's that kind of engagement for everyone, and that I'm celebrating these artists. I have a thing where I want people to do better after working with me. I want them to go out and be able to have a broader sense of the craft, have greater, opportunities. So that's always been kind of a quiet goal of mine.
Well, you're listening to your passion, not just in obviously this conversation, anytime you speak. I mean, your promo tour right now, going around to these different movie theaters, talking about your passion for the popcorn in the movie theaters, is certainly something that'll be brought up. That's going to be brought up. There is quite a discussion happening on our show about that.
I love popcorn.
Oh, we've heard, and we've seen too. That'll definitely get brought up. But your passion is obviously very evident, and it radiates through the screen whenever we watch you, no matter what you're doing. Whether you are Jerry Maguire, or you're a pilot in American Made, or you're a collateral bad guy, or you're Fatso in Tropic Thunder, or any of these, like you are, it radiates, okay, through the screen. So whenever like Spielberg comes out and says like, hey, this guy saved the industry, and that's obviously something that I assume you want to deflect to the entire team. And obviously you talk about your team in a way that any great leader would, any great coach would. You're talking about wanting to draw the best out of people, and what is the talent we have, and then let's make the movie around that. That's a football coach. That is a sport coach. I love to hear your leadership. But whenever that is bestowed upon you during COVID, when they thought the movies were going to be dead, like everybody was going to stream, did you take that upon yourself? Did you feel a little bit of weight of the industry, and how have you kind of navigated that?
Well, what I did is basically, I did, because look, my friends, it's not just about the films I'm making. The difference in movies, I guess, and other sports is I've never felt competitive with other people. I'm like, I want everyone to do well. And so, I did. I just made sure that mission got made, that when everything shut down, I really worked and had to take it on. And, I talked to McHugh, who writes and directs and produces these films, and I was like, we're gonna have to really do this, and I'm gonna stay in. Are you in? And so what I did was I just worked with the governments. I called one studio, and this is what I really did. I called a studio. I was like, "Yeah, you guys shooting?" He's like, "No, we can't. We're all shut down for that." I said, "Oh wow." I said, "We're shooting our movies," and they're like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, we're making our movies." And then so I called back a week later, and I was like, "How's it going?" They said, "Oh yeah, we're shooting our films." I said, "Because we're coming out next summer, And I said, "So, we're on this date. I hope you're not on this date." They're like, "Well, we're making our movie and we're coming out next summer." And then I called the studio that I was working with. I said, "Look, all these guys are making movies. We got to make movies." So, and I just kept everyone working throughout. So they were like, "Okay, we got to make movies." So then I was like, we had to finish Top Gun Maverick in post during COVID. And I was basically, everyone was kind of like, "No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that." I was like, always going, "Nah, I don't take no for an answer, really, Pat." I'm like, "Okay, well, there's got to be a solution." So I was calling like, we have to set up the rules. Let's make agreements so that we can get back to work. And then I was calling governments and getting agreements with them. And then I was sharing it with the other studios and my friends, saying, this is how we're doing it. And then just kind of saying, my crew's going to get paid during this time. I just kept everybody working. And then slowly, and not so slowly, before you know it, we're able to just make sure that we're creating, even our orchestra for Top Gun Maverick, we were able to get mics to people's apartments all over the world where they're recording their instruments and then combining those instruments to create a live orchestra. And just showing people, look, we can do this. We can do it safely. Let's create whatever rules so that we can move forward. And that's what I did. And I ensured that Top Gun Maverick did not go to streaming, that it was held for distribution. And I was calling all the theater owners globally that are my friends for decades and the studio heads and all of us I said, look, this movie's coming out, period. It's coming out in theaters. And just kind of worked with everyone and said, look, we're all going to get through this. We're going to get through it. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And just working with friends and how to do it, how to navigate these channels and just keep people moving in the most efficient, creative way possible. And, just kind of night and day. It was 7 days a week, night and day, and creating these things. And you look at the film today, we made it through COVID and 2 strikes and, just be relentless about it. And, just make sure that people had jobs and that we were moving forward. And that's what happened. And it was very nice what Steven said. I've known Steven since I was a kid, and very grateful to everyone, that everyone kind of picked it up and everybody got back to work. But I was definitely kicking some doors through and kind of helping people to understand that this can be done and we can move forward, and that the theatrical experience is very special.
Yeah, and we needed it too as a society. Top Gun Maverick, I want to let you know that Top Gun Maverick is one of the moments I look back. I think there was an Ole Miss baseball home run that I remember. It was the first time there was a crowd, and Ole Miss hit a home run, and the crowd went crazy in the outfield. I remember going to see Top Gun Maverick.
Yep.
That's like one of my rollouts of COVID here, like changing my, and I'm sure there's nowhere, I'm not the only one. This is a lot of people. So we are incredibly grateful for what you did, and I assume the movie industry echoes what Spielberg says in that entire thing. Now, speaking of the movie industry,
very nice.
we have somebody on, no, you're very nice, Tom. You're very nice, Tom. You're a spark plug, brother, for everything. You make everything better. You're an igniter, a trailblazer, a dog in every sense of the word. Cannot wait to watch Mission Impossible Final Reckoning tomorrow. The world is going to watch alongside of us, and I can't wait to see what you put out next. But we have a guy on our show, film major at Iowa, graduated, has studied your basic entire life. One of your biggest fans, Ty, has a question for you, Tom.
Yeah, Tom, first and foremost.
Yeah, I know you, Ty. Thanks, man. Hey, Ty.
Hey,
brother.
I love you, Ty.
Wow, Ty, good for you, Ty.
And well, I wanted to start by saying, I think you just gave a quote that said, like, hey, listen, I'm still going to be doing this when I'm 100 years old. I'm not going to stop making movies anytime soon.
110, I think.
110,
yeah.
exactly. I just personally want to say thank you because I don't want to live in a world where you're not making movies anymore. So, when you're done, I'm going to be done. I may never go see one again. But I do want to ask you, when it comes to the Mission Impossible franchise as a whole, and then this film specifically, how difficult has it been kind of raising the bar with these set pieces that just get more massive and more massive like that? It becomes the big part of the promotion of the movie. How have you kind of continued to push the envelope with each of these while also making it make sense within like the story of the film?
Listen, that is really the collaboration with Christopher McQuarrie. His storytelling ability, and he and I have been working together for almost 20 years. The guy's genius. And it's also, look, I'm always setting goals for myself my whole life. Even as a kid, I had goals, and you know what it's like. Like sometimes you don't share your dreams, your goals with people because sometimes it's so outrageous that it's okay. Like you don't want to hear their comments. And I always have many goals. So when I accomplish something, I already have a list of goals lined up there. Like I have so many other sequences and things that I can create for various films. I've already finished a film with Alejandro Iñárritu. Constantly pushing the bar. It's always something that I know it's just, I take one sequence and I look at it and I go, how do I improve it? How can I do it better? You can always do things better. And I remember as a kid when I was making this movie Taps, I was laying there and I was like, man, I realized there I was working with these great cinematographer, great filmmakers, great actors. They knew so much more about everything than I did. And I was trying to absorb everything. And I thought, I was so tense because I was trying to just remember everything and remember it. And I just laid there. It was like literally in the middle of the night, and I wasn't sleeping. And I just started laughing. I was laughing till tears came out. I said, man, you know what? I can only do the best I can. And I don't know what I don't know. And that's okay. And there's always, like, I can always learn. And I remember I thought, I'm going to dedicate everything. And that's it. Like, good or bad, whatever people think, I know that I did everything I could. And that's what I've dedicated my life to. So when you look at Mission, for me, there's always another mountain. Or cinema, there's always another mountain. There's always a new story. There's always something that I can do better, bigger, in different ways, shift into different genres. I never think, that I can't. And that doesn't mean there's things that I don't know. I just don't mind not knowing. I don't mind feeling that fear or that anxiety of I don't know. And I use that to pursue knowledge. I use that to pursue pushing myself to create something special. And all of us, and it's not just me, it's the whole team. So it's just that interest in the next goal. We're just pursuing it. And when you're working with such talented people that are there kind of throwing it all in, we're going for, I want to entertain that audience, and that's the goal. So it's just, it's an interest. It's like people go, why? It is a passion and an interest in life, a pursuit of excellence, a pursuit of knowledge, a pursuit of, and not just excellence for excellence. It's like I'm defining it for the audience. I'm doing this for the audience. And I don't know, I get real passionate about it.
Yeah, I was about to say,
I get real passionate
it's obsession at this point, I think, for you to entertain people.
Yeah, it's like,
and that's a giving mindset.
It is a passion. It's literally like, as a kid, I used to write stories and characters just to make my family laugh. And I'd create characters. And I was jumping off buildings when I was 4 years old. I was that kid who climbed the tallest trees. I think I was like 2.5 years old, where I climbed out of a window onto a roof, to look at the stars. And the neighbors would call my mom, and she'd be like,
where is he? He's on the roof?
I think there's a child on a roof at 2 a.m. in the morning to look at the stars. You know what I mean? And I just had that natural sense of adventure that I guess carries over into my passion for people in life and cinema.
Well, we're appreciative of those things combining, because when you just decide, I'm gonna jump a motorcycle off a cliff here, and I'm gonna do it 20 times to see how it goes. I'm gonna climb the Burj Khalifa with no thing, and just sit on top of that thing. I'm gonna fly on the wing of a plane that is 5 to 15 feet above the ground over a creek, and it's like we appreciate the fact that you do that. I get nervous for you. I get scared for you. Now we know you're a very busy person.
I get nervous too.
Do you? Okay. So you get feelings or no? Do you have fear?
Oh yeah. It's I just don't mind it. Look, here's also the thing, that when you're looking at that plane flying 5 feet over, we're doing things. I'm not just hanging off that plane. I'm also, the amount of time that it took to develop understanding the aircraft and how it flies, understanding the airplane when it gets into a place where it's no longer going to fly, me training the pilot to do it. We're developing knowledge and we're developing technology. So also when I'm there on the wheel, I'm worried about these downdrafts that are coming in. I'm perceiving the bumps. I know what that pilot is going through, because also when I'm flying in between the two wings and I'm 0G in there, I also have to know my body position, because I'm creating drag and reducing the airflow over that wing. And I have to know what that pilot is doing. What is he going through? Are we in the middle of a stall when that airplane's going and doing a loop and we're right on the top? I have to know where I need to be in position-wise so that this airplane doesn't start falling out of the sky and we get into a spin.
Yeah.
So he has to, and I'm training him, and I have to know where the camera is, and I have to also know where the helicopter is and I'm acting as I'm moving through it. So there's kind of different spatial orientations and perceptions that I have to have, so that as the airplane and that airflow is going over, and we're traveling anywhere from, 95 to 145 miles an hour hitting G's. So
of course,
I don't know if you ever taken your hand and stuck it out of a window at that speed.
Oh, yeah, dolphin.
So how do I train my body? How do I train my mind? How do I train myself spiritually? And McHugh and I are working on on the story. And what does that lens say? So there's layers upon layers. You know, it's like when you see a quarterback come up to the line and they're quick perceiving everything. You know, where they have to know where everyone's moving. You have to have that spatial orientation of the guys coming around you. That's what you have to have. And I have to know how close is that airplane to the side of the mountain? Where's the downdraft? What's happening? It's split-second precision. And if I make a mistake and I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time, you know, and I have to be able to perceive, if I do that, I'm going to put the pilot and the airplane into a bad position. So, and if I'm thrown into a bad position, I have to know as a team, like where we need to go. So all of these things are happening with all the stunts we're doing, and that kind of training. And it's not just years that it took to develop these sequences. It's decades of knowledge that I've accumulated, even on how to hire the people around me to do this. And so that's what McHugh and I, like, even I'm talking on the wing to him. We have hand signals at times where he's in the helicopter and he's opening the helicopter and he's talking to me, but we have hand signals so that we can move very quickly. And on that wing, you have to understand, it is the toughest weight work you've ever had. So, you know, when you have a brutal weight workout and you literally cannot move.
Yes.
You can't even get up. That's what this being on the wing for a couple of minutes is, from a hard aerobatic workout, traveling the forces, and I have to just rest on the wing to the times where I'm almost like in a different state of exhaustion, and I have to rest to let my body, my muscles refuel so that I can get just from the wing to the cockpit, because also we're limited in fuel. So, and the guy, you know, my pilots cannot land with me on the wing. And the way I start is I go from the cockpit out onto the wing, then we start our maneuvers. And I'm also hand signals with the pilot. So all of these things and the amount of training and drilling and safety procedures and step by step moving up to these procedures, because also when the airplane goes inverted,
Of course.
the engine stops. It does stop because it's not fuel injected. So while I'm hanging, and you'll see stuff of me hanging upside down in that airplane, and how do I hold it, and how do we do it, and understanding the maneuver and how that plane moves around, and putting myself into a position because I'm being flung, and also understanding what happens so that I'm putting myself in a position on the wing or the fuselage. You'll see me take hard hits, very, very hard hits on that wing, and it's just like, oh, you can't take many of those, you know?
Yeah.
It's like going across the middle. You know, a receiver going across the middle.
Hold
It's
on,
like, I'm going to catch the ball,
Tom, you
and
said,
I know it's going to hurt.
Yeah, you said, hold on. He said, it's like a quarterback having to check an audible. Yeah, there's a chance you get blindsided. Yeah, there's a chance you get sacked, I guess. In your world, there's a chance you're falling off of a plane into Earth. So, yeah, I guess it is like a quarterback.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess so.
Physics.
Brother.
Physics.
Whoa.
Listening to you talk is both inspiring and also like with an understanding that you're one of one, brother. There's never going to be another.
Yeah.
Never going to be another. Now, speaking of never going to be another, Boston Connor got a chance to watch Final Reckoning this morning.
Yeah, after that promo, TC, I wore my GOAT shirt today because you are the GOAT, and it's very nice to be able to show that right after you said all that. But, yes, I was able to see Final Reckoning this morning at 7:30 a.m. Thank you to your team for setting it up. I did, in fact, get popcorn for you, and just so you know, coffee and popcorn are a fantastic combination. Okay. By the end of the movie.
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
7:30 a.m. show.
I got to try that.
Yeah, yes, you do.
I got to try that. I got to say, the other day when I was in New York, I woke up and I did eat some more popcorn.
Hell yeah.
I didn't try it with coffee, but chocolate popcorn's good, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to try coffee now. Thank you.
Yeah.
I learned something new every day.
Boom.
Always evolving. I can't wait to see what a coffee popcorn scene's going to look like.
Yeah, it's energetic.
I want to know what that's like.
Yeah, it's a lot of juice. You'll eat even more popcorn probably because of it. But, you know, with it being the Final Reckoning, and all of us have been a massive fan of this entire franchise, did you become nostalgic, you know, during certain scenes, after filming certain things, because of it being the Final Reckoning? And when everything was wrapped and filming was done, did it get emotional for you once, you know, Ethan Hunt was finished with this Mission Impossible?
I'm very much, we didn't finish the film until the day before we released it in Japan. We were in Japan and we had 3 days. Yeah, the day before the subtitles got done, literally the day before we premiered it. So
really
we haven't had a chance to take a breath. And I'm working on so many other films. And I have like, it's never, we're just constantly on the next. I did a movie with Alejandro Iñárritu, and McHugh and we haven't had a chance. It's like we're on a bullet train, and we're prepping, so many other films right now. It's just been a bullet train.
Yeah, you're standing on top.
I'm just enjoying right now. I'm enjoying every moment right now of sharing it with people, and I'm going to try that coffee and popcorn, and we're going to see.
Okay, last question here, Tom. I know you're very busy. Darius Butler has a question
Speaking
for you.
of sharing moments with people,
man.
I saw you.
This is fun. How are you, man?
Yeah, let's go, man.
How you doing?
This is fun. This has been an awesome conversation, and I saw you with the people in the theater. Eating some popcorn now. This is a big journalism show, so I got to get to the bottom of it because there are questions. And now you're Tom Cruise, so you do everything a little different. I've never seen anybody eat popcorn like this. Are you actually eating popcorn, or are you full of shit right here, TC? I got to know. Got to know.
Man, I'm eating popcorn. They know when I'm going to these movies that I'm watching, and I'm eating popcorn.
Okay.
So is your love of popcorn because it is like a movie theater thing? You think that is why?
Yeah, movies. I love going to a movie and getting popcorn. For me, it's just like comfort. I love the comfort of a movie theater, and I love setting it up. And I'll see several movies, on the weekend. I'll kind of chart my weekends for the movies, and I look forward to it. Like what these guys are throwing down, and it's inspiring to me seeing these movies. Like you see Sinners, I'm like, seeing what those guys did, I'm pumped to see that. You got Brad Pitt, with Formula One coming, and all the guys like Jerry Bruckheimer. I can't wait to see those guys, what they're creating. You got Keanu, with the Wick series that I love with Ana de Armas, and these guys are laying it down this summer. And I'm just, and I get really excited and inspired by what these guys are doing. They're going after it, and and I love getting popcorn. Everyone knows the theater owners. I get there, they got my popcorn ready for me. I get with my friends, and we get in the back. I've got the seats. I show up, I see the trailers, packed cinema, and I'm watching the movie, and I like watching other people, as we're doing it, and that's what I love. I love seeing people's response to it and seeing what people are doing. I love it.
God, you're the perfect representative of the movie industry. We can't thank you enough for joining us. Quick tip, if somebody's to make an acting debut in a couple months, maybe me.
Yeah. What's up? What do you want? Like,
what should I think? What should my mindset be? What should your mindset be? Well, it depends on the kind of movies. War movie.
Oh, good. Well, first of all, just try to understand what the tone of the film is, what's happening on set. Show up early so that and you feel comfortable, the surroundings. I'm always early and I always leave late, and I'm constantly kind of working on it. I work on things 7 days a week and usually working on several films at the same time. But I think the most important thing is to just be there and be present and perceive what's going on, what's happening right in front of you and reacting to it. And just understanding what the tone of what the directors are going for, and just responding, just being in the moment. I'll prepare, sometimes for years. Some of the films that I've made, Rain Man, it took 2 years. Born on the 4th of July, over 2 years. Mission movies or Samurai, I spent 2 years preparing for them. And sometimes like Les Grossman, whatever, it's months and months. And, so these things, just be present. And just find things that interest you with that character. And all you got to do is listen and respond to the people there, and just kind of feel, when you're a kid, and children they're great actors. They're just so free. You're playing with your toys, and you're that truck, and you're doing all this, and it's, you are that character with those toys, or, whatever you want that cookie, but it's not, it's dessert after dinner, and you can always see the kids, and they're like, well, you can't have the cookie till later, and we're going to do it. No, I want it now. I want this cookie now, or the toy. And you can see that they could just generate the tears, and you just start looking at them, and they're looking over that eye like, are you paying attention? I really got the tears going now. They're creating that. They're making it happen right now. And that's acting where you kind of create a character, you understand the world, and then you're just present in creating those things. And it's just use your imagination and have fun.
I appreciate the hell out
I
of
hope
it.
that's helped, man.
It is going to be fun. And I can't wait to get to the movies tomorrow to watch your latest work and Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. Thank you for the time. You're the greatest of all time,
Everybody.
brother.
Hey, thank you for the time. You guys are awesome. Have a great summer. Enjoy.
Hell yeah, you too. Enjoy your life, Tom.
Yeah.
You're making all of ours better.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Cruise.
Love you, Tom.
Huh?
Unbelievable. How about that?
Huh? Tom Cruise.
I'm real.
35 minutes. 35 minutes we had Tom. I don't know how everybody in his team
Sure.
felt about the 35 minutes.
Probably didn't love it.
I mean, what were we supposed to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't planned, but when you're
That was not the plan. It was not the plan at all. And then he gives that first answer, and it's like, oh, Tom's giving us answers right now. Feels like Tom is giving us answers right now. And then just one thing leads to another, yada, yada, yada. I look up, and I'm like, we are 25 minutes into this thing right now. No end in sight in my eyes.
At all.
In my head, there was no...
I love talking film.
There was no smooth exit at all. So we go another 10 minutes. And that last question there about the tip for acting and, maybe for me, but also maybe for those who want to get into acting. Like,
sure.
How often do you get to hear Tom Cruise give,
Exactly.
full breakdown of what you need to be? You need to be, is what he was saying basically in a roundabout way. After the conversation ends, he wanted to stick around and say thank you to us.
Yep.
Okay? And there was another...
10 minutes.
10 minutes of like diving into, is it you that is acting? And then like true passion in telling me how I need to think, what I need to think, the questions I'm allowed to ask, what I'm not allowed to ask, what I shouldn't think about, what I should, like everything like broken down. I am nothing short of...
Yeah. Truly impressive.
Yeah.
I am nothing short of impressed with that man. And he's one of one. And I don't like you
Amen.
I feel.
and Bubba.
Yeah, Bubba.
Bubba Watson.
Bubba Watson, son of a bitch.
So loud. Even at the WNBA game, he was like,
Showed you how to eat popcorn.
Yeah. It's not hard.
Is that how you're going to eat? No, you're not eating. We know you're not eating.
Yeah.
We know you're not
That's
eating
clearly fake by you.
that. You don't have popcorn. You don't. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
See?
This is my Mission Impossible.
I'm a rookie
to eat
actor.
popcorn like this for the rest of my life.
I haven't been acting for 40
Hey,
years.
thank you, Tom.
Thank you, TC. Love you.
Love you, TC.
That was awesome, though.
It was incredible. We did not expect that. We had no idea what to expect. 10 to 15 minutes, they said, going in. And I don't know whether that's on us for being unprofessional. Hopefully Tom is okay with it. Hopefully everybody else is as well. There was a couple, because he's in a different country, Foxy added some pictures to kind of splice some things up because we didn't know where the conversation was going to go. Foxy, great work on that, bro.
Yeah, that'd be
Thank you. They said it was awesome B-roll to use in there. It was sweet.
Yeah, they were a cool team to work with, too.
Oh, yeah.
To be clear, they had it all. Hey, here's some B-roll if you want to make it for any of the clips. Here's a teaser you can use that nobody else has. It's like, thank you. And it all makes sense whenever you hear him talk. He's a leader. Like, I think he views himself as like the coach, obviously. He says, when I'm producing a movie or I'm doing this, I'm trying to, there's a lot of like leadership lessons in there. There's a lot of like work ethic lessons in there. Obviously, we're talking about acting. He's talking about acting. But if you apply a lot of the shit he's saying about how he goes about his business to your particular life and whatever you do, I think that is that was a quote machine. That was like a quote board machine right there with Tom Cruise. What an honor. Ty, you've been a big fan, massive fan. You've been banging the drum, obviously, since the beginning. He was superb, I think. And I don't know. I don't watch enough of his interviews and everything like that during his press junkets, but he was so kind to us. He blessed us, man.
Oh, yeah.
He really did.
For sure. I wouldn't say I watch those press junkets a whole lot because typically for those movies, it's just the same thing over and over again. Like they get asked the same questions by these outlets, and by the end of it, it's like you can tell they're done, but they need to promote the movie. But you mentioned it, like he is one of one. There will never be another actor. There's never been another actor, and there will never be another actor who's doing these kind of stunts. And then for this kind of stuff, like you talk about being a leader, like for a movie like this, like, and you're doing these type of stunts, like they need to make sure that this stuff goes off without a hitch. Because if it doesn't, like a movie like this, like the more days you tack on, that production budget goes higher and higher and higher. And you hear that about movies getting made all the time. It's like, well, the production process was hell because they went 45 days over what they were supposed to, and that added another 75 to $100 million to the budget.
Licensing, renting, shooting, working,
all that kind of stuff. Yeah, getting these are massive set pieces that they're doing, and obviously, like the production budget of this movie alone was like $400 million. Like, this is one of the most expensive movies ever made, so you don't really have the luxury of like, oh, we need to go another month. I mean, it's just TC's the GOAT. I've been saying it, and I'll continue to say it until I'm blue in the face.
Yeah, and it's sweet, too, like learning how he knows all those aspects of the film. Like him understanding, like he's always studying, he's always learning. And to your point about the people that work for him, the person who showed us the movie yesterday morning, super nice. I assume it's someone from his camp or Paramount or, from Mission, as Tom says it. But it is the greatest film. I'm not joking. If you're a Mission Impossible fan, it's the best one. You are going to love it. At the end of it, I thought there was going to be another half hour. I was hoping for more time after, just because you don't really want it to end at any point. And especially if you're into the entire, nostalgic throwback, some kind of callbacks, if you will, to the earlier movies. Because I'm a sucker for those when it comes to any, big franchise.
Yeah, it feels smart, right? It feels like big brain. It feels like you're bringing your people in.
And it's like, it was worth watching. Like, it's not like I was just watching those movies because they were trying to make another. Like, there is a legitimate long-term storytelling in these films.
Hell yeah.
And the Final Reckoning, it truly was one of my favorite ones. The movies they called back to in it were some of my favorite movies in the entire series too. And the cast, the cameos he mentioned on during the interview, the commander for the submarine, and there's another commander in the film as well who is just magnificent.
That's not how he eats popcorn.
Yeah, it is.
No,
he's actually eating the popcorn.
Don't do this, man. I'll rip that fucking jersey off your back. I don't care.
Yeah, then Marcy will come beat your ass.
Yeah,
too, bub.
exactly.
Marcy versus Will Campbell.
Well, you just missed bad. That was a bad miss. You can't be doing that. Tom didn't do that.
It's going to happen. So.
Yeah, and how about whenever he said in 2020, he calls the other production companies, you guys making movies over there? No, we can't. Oh, we're doing it. Oh, that's all right. We'll see you. And then call back next week. How's it going over there? Oh, we're making movies over here. Oh, okay. When are you guys launching? We got a date next summer. This is when we're going. Are you guys going the same date? Yeah, we'll do it this summer or whatever. Okay, cool. Then he calls Paramount. Hey, other people are making movies. Yeah. Okay, other people are making movies.
Brilliant.
Want to work in that thing. And the way he explains this, because he didn't want his people to lose jobs.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, if there's going to be other people that are doing it, and in my eyes, there is an ability to do it, I don't take no for an option many times.
Yeah. I mean, he is obsessed.
Obsessed.
If you ever been around, I played with Tom, and you played with Peyton, and I'm sure like Jordan and Kobe, and you see like these guys, Tiger, you get obsessed with that shit, and you can tell, talking to him, you could tell sometimes he just caught himself oh shit, like me.
Yeah.
I could talk about this one question for 35 more minutes, but it's great to see somebody, especially who's been at the top of the game for so long, to still have that drive and obsession about their craft.
And how awesome is it? You said playing with Tom. I obviously got a chance to watch Peyton do his thing. It's like, and he mentioned it. He was like, I want everybody to be better after they work with me and with us. It's like me watching Peyton made me better.
Yeah.
At this job, at every job, at life, at punting, at, I assume you the same
with
thing
Tom,
with Tom Brady. Yeah. And it's like, there's not many of those ever going to exist again.
Nope. No. 1-1.
110 years old, though, Ty. You said once you're done, I'm fucking out of here, too, bub.
Yeah, and I stand by that.
All right.
Start rewatching.
That was one of the most ridiculous things. As you were kind of unraveling, I was hearing you talk, I'm like, okay, I'm excited to hear what Ty says to Tom here. I'm excited for the opportunity. And then you say, hey, Tom, when you're done, I'm dying too. Okay? He said he's going to live to 110. I believe him.
So do I.
Me too.
At least.
So do I.
I believe him. He's got another 48 years, he says, I think, if we're doing the math right.